officer asks, can I elaborate on the second prong of a Gant search? Okay, so the officer is from New York, and he basically says that on a recent search and seizure show with Zach Miller, you guys had some interesting discussion surrounding a search based on a reasonable belief that there's evidence of a crime inside the vehicle, and whether or not that includes the entire vehicle or just includes the trunk. Okay. The cop, though, wants to talk about, hey, can you elaborate on what's the difference between a good old-fashioned motor vehicle exception and a reasonable belief that there's evidence in the car, right? What's the level of proof required here? I think it's a great question. And let's just kind of talk about some basics first. All right, let's start with a motor vehicle exception. The motor vehicle exception, as established first in a case called Carroll, said that if the police have probable cause that there's evidence inside a vehicle, the police do not need to go to the judge first and ask for permission. They can search the car without a warrant, and then that probable cause determination will be evaluated afterwards. Okay, so that's probable cause. We all know that. What is this Gant search? Okay, in a case called Arizona versus Gant, the Supreme Court clarified that we cannot search a vehicle as a matter of routine just because we are arresting a person from that vehicle, unless the person is, out of handcuffs near the vehicle at the time of the search, which is almost never going to happen. But they also said a few words about another type of search that we can do on a motor vehicle, and that is an evidence-related search. In other words, they have said that if we arrest somebody and that crime has evidence of that crime, drug dealing, burglary tools, etc., right? And there's evidence of that crime, and you have a reason to believe that there's more evidence of that crime in the car, that we can search that vehicle for that evidence. Now, Zach and I went back and forth on whether or not that Gant-style search can include areas outside the passenger compartment, like a trunk, and the answer seems to be no at this point. The Supreme Court has not directly addressed that issue, but it seems that courts that are addressing that issue seem to find that this Gant-style search is really only of a passenger compartment. So I guess if you have an SUV, it's the entire passenger compartment, including the back area. But if you have a passenger car, it doesn't seem to include the trunk. I do believe at the end of the day, the Supreme Court would rule that they actually would be okay with the trunk, because it seems kind of ridiculous that, a person can have evidence in the trunk and it's you can't search it, you can't recover it under Gant, but if they leave that same evidence under the passenger seat, it is recoverable. I don't know if that sounds reasonable to me, but at this point, it seems that the courts, because the Supreme Court has not decided it, they are saying that it's going to be the trunk. All right, moving on to reason to believe. Reason to believe is the same level of proof as reasonable suspicion. That's what it is. So probable cause is a fair probability that there's going to be evidence of that crime in the car, and you can search anywhere in the car with probable cause. We know that. Under Gant, though, reason to believe is similar to reasonable suspicion, which is a moderate chance that there's evidence of that crime in the passenger compartment. So much lower level of proof. All you need to have is a moderate chance, and that's under Gant. So if you have that, you should be good to go, right? Now, most states recognize Gant as, under their state constitution. There are a few outliers out there that may not recognize it, like New Mexico, Minnesota. I'd be careful in those states because they usually require a warrant to even search a car. But regardless, most states that have the motor vehicle exception allow it. I think that hopefully it helps. My purpose of the video is to help you get it right every single time. If you have any questions about this or anything else I teach, please reach out to us at bluetogold.com. Also, just if you're interested, broadcasting from the National Interdiction Conference in Anaheim, California this week. So having a great time at this conference, which I'll be speaking at. So if you're here, please come by the booth and say hello. Until next time, my friends, you stay safe.